What's going on, my lovely people? Back for another episode of Judgment Free with NB3. I'm your boy, Nelson Bernard III. So for this month's episode, it was very eventful, to say the least. Definitely evolved over this month for sure. And it wasn't by happenstance either. And that's why the title for this month's episode is Intentionality. Okay, because everything I do, I try to do with intention. I'm intentional with everything that I do. Okay, and there's two key things that happened this month. It was a very busy month, by the way, that I want to talk about and go into depth as far as my thoughts, feelings, and just the overall evolution. Right. So I went to my first professional growth development conference for TCA, which is Texas Counseling Association. Like I said, I'm only just a first semester graduate student, right? But I opted to go and experience that. And then the second thing was going to Disney World for the first time with the family. All right. So the first thing I want to talk about when it comes to intentionality was like I pre-registered for the conference months in advance, right? Because I knew it was coming. And even though I know I'm a new student, a graduate student, I was like, let me see what this is about. It was in Houston. So I was in my backyard, so I had to go far or travel, right? So I took that opportunity to see what the profession is really about, being around a lot of professionals that's been doing it. I mean, I said doctor so many times in the span of 3 days, the most area of my life. But I met so many doctors and people who are LPCs, LPCs associates, LPC supervisors. And I got a lot of good information just from the different sessions and stuff, right? So it was a 3-day conference, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I went all 3 days. And it was funny because like I guess I was then thinking all the way through. I looked at a couple of sessions that the people that I knew, which it wasn't that many who had sessions, and I was like, I'm gonna do those and that's it. My wife was like, "You gonna pay all that money and not do the full experience?" And it dawned on me, right? Because I was like, I guess you're right, because So I went on there and I started to look at different topics and everything. I started to pick out things that was interesting to me. Mainly, I was looking for stuff that was ethnic, playing the black people, black men, black women, so or areas that I want to practice in the future. But yeah, she in true fashion, with that bug in my ear, and I went ahead and had the full experience of that. And every day I went to the conference, I met somebody new, especially black in the profession, and we exchanged information, contacts, and I have people in my corner for now and the future as I matriculate through my program for clinical mental health counseling. Striving to be a licensed professional counselor, right? So it was definitely worth every penny. Definitely seeing all the award winners, and to see what they get awards for, who's in charge, the demographic of the profession, mostly women, in the profession. So I got to see like the deficiency and the deficit of men, particularly black men in the profession, right? So that was just another thing that invigorated me to keep going and to also be the best that I can be in my particular, area that I'm looking to go into. So I went the whole 3 days and I just was a sponge, all right, like a fly on the wall. I didn't ask any questions. I just watched all the professionals volley back and forth with suggestions and comments and, like just what ifs and different scenarios, right? And I was just soaking it up. Even my professors, they had a class they taught, and I was in that one too as well. But I was just soaking it up, right? Because I want to be in a room where I'm not the most experienced and the smartest, and that was a perfect area for me because I don't like being the smartest or the most experienced person in the room because you don't grow or learn like that, right? And then everybody's looking at you depending on you, and I don't like that feeling or that type of environment, right? So it was perfect for me. I definitely, I definitely, I learned a lot about do's and don'ts, things to look out for, people to talk to, um, the deeper, you know, ins and outs as far as the process of going from, student to licensed professional counselor, right? And the whole time, I know a lot of people probably deal with this. I know for me, I can get overwhelmed by too much information. So for me, I was fighting the urge to ask a bunch of questions going down the rabbit hole, right? Because I haven't experienced what they're talking about and I'm just in the infancy stage of the process. So I would just fight myself to just relax, Nelson. You're here to learn and observe. Okay. So I refrain from like overwhelming myself and like psyching myself out and questioning my ability and my confidence. So which was a task in itself, like all 3 days, because you seeing it's so much stimulation going on, and you go into this session, that session, and just so many people that you notice in the profession that you're in, right? And I mean, you could ask a question about anything, right? But that can lead you down a rabbit hole too. So I was very good at tapering it off, um, and just allowing everybody else to ask their questions and to just take nuggets and information from those instances, right? But yeah, I mean, it was definitely informative. I think I went to want to say like 6 or 7 different sessions over a span of 3 days, right? You get credit hours, right? So when you become a licensed professional counselor, you have to have your continuing education, right? So I got like 9 hours of continuing education that I can't do nothing with, of course, but it is what it is, right? But I still saved it on my desktop, in my little, souvenir, whatever you want to call it, because I'm in school still, so I'm just not wrapping up my first semester, so it ain't gonna do nothing for me. But I still got the knowledge though, and I still learned things that I didn't learn throughout my first semester of grad school, right? So I mean, is it all in all, it's a win-win at the end of the day. But yeah, I see why people go to these conferences, right? I had a good time. I definitely plan on going at least once a year. They do conferences, all year round for different areas and everything. But I plan on at least doing one conference a year at least, right? And I actually enjoy the fellowship, and I actually enjoy being around people and learning from other people, and just getting different experiences, right, from different walks of life, different areas. Because I know I would like to work with young boys and men and specialize in EMDR, right? But there's so many other areas and populations and specialties that's out there, right? And I'm still exploring. So I told myself I was going to keep my options and my mind open, even though I have a fixation on what I want to do. But as I matriculate, that may change. And I'm going to keep open mind because you never know where you're going to land. I'm in the first semester of my 2 to 3 year program. Who knows what I'm going to, attract to or attach to. So that conference also helped me to realize that anything is possible. The origin of the reason why you want to be a licensed professional counselor and what you actually become could be two different, things, right? So that helped me not to be asphyxiated on any particular thing and keep my options open and keep the expectations down, right? Because I'm thinking I'm going to be fulfilled in what I'm pursuing, right? And that may not be the case as I matriculate and get exposed to new things. That's another reason why I went to the conference, because I want to be exposed to something different and new outside the classroom and outside what I think I know and outside my military experience in the Marine Corps with counseling and um, mentorship and stuff like that. So I take all my experiences and see how it fits in today into now, right? So that's what the conference allowed me to do. I got my shirt on, got my proud shirt. So um, then I got my badge. See, it's the keepsake. I'm gonna collect these now to see how many I can get. And I normally don't do that, but it's something that I'm really passionate about. It's something that I'm really geeked up about it, and I was excited. And I could barely sleep the week of because I knew I was going to get something new and exciting every day. So, so yeah, that that was an experience for me. But that also helped me grow as an individual, as a professional, right? Professional development, and that was the epitome of professional development. And I was surrounded by my professors, and they supported me, and they were there and they gave their guidance, and they showed up, and that was really welcoming and warming for me to see them outside of the classroom setting, right, and to give presentations and to see them. That's definitely eye opening too as well. So I took a bunch of pictures, um, dressed up on the awards night dinner, um, got my headshot done for my first, I guess my first professional headshot as like a counseling training, right? Got that. Got my T-shirt, and it was just an amazing experience. Now, I didn't see a lot of or any black male presenters. It was mostly female, but they did dominate the profession. So that inspired me to one day become a presenter at one of these conferences because I would like to see somebody look like me, that looks like me up there in the profession, teaching and inspiring and motivating and educating. Right. So that's on the to-do list. That's on like one of my goals. So yeah, that was all in all the summary of my my conference in November. So now the second point that I want to go into for November that made it pretty busy and exciting and interesting is that so me and my wife, we went to Disney World for the first time. All right, during Thanksgiving break. All right, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We went with my older sister, and my brother-in-law, and my little niece, and we drove, from Houston to Orlando, right? Road trip. So that was an experience because that was the first time we've done that, as a family, just going on a family trip. And we met up with other family members down in Orlando. They flew in, but it was interesting. We never been to. Me and wife had never been to Disney World, so that was pretty awesome. Now, I will say this though, although I'm still human, so that's why I talked about being intentional, right? Intentionality, because at the end of the day, I'm still human, and I still have feelings that I have to deal with, right? So, traveling down I-10, going to Florida, is the typical route that I would take to get my daughters. They live in Brunswick, Georgia. So this was the first time I traveled that route and wasn't going to Georgia to get them or see them, right? So it was kind of weird, us going south versus going north when we got to Florida, and I always had to catch myself because I was like, we're not going to Brunswick. What do you mean we but that was just, I was in autopilot, and that was just something that I was used to doing. And, it also sucks too, because if things were normal with my situation with my daughters and custody and everything, I would have them for the Thanksgiving break on the odd years, which would be this year, 2025. So they would have been with us for Thanksgiving break. So that's one thing, right? And they've been to Disney World before, but I wasn't with them. I was on deployment, but they when they was younger though, so they probably don't really remember much. But it's just sad because, you know, the last 3 times I went, even to Georgia, it wasn't to see them. Well, I couldn't see them, right? And that still continues, right? Because the mother of my children does not want me to have a relationship or to even talk with them, like any type of interaction. And I don't know what that's about, but it is very frustrating. It is very frustrating. And, I'm still human. So, I was fighting those feelings and emotions and whatnot, because at the end of the day, I would have loved to been with them, and I would have loved to have been with us to experience that. Because now this time last year would have been very different, because again, I was struggling with the not being, not practicing mindfulness and dealing with the here and now and acceptance of what the situation is. So I was constantly fighting off the urge to, be like, oh man, my girl's not here, and not experiencing the actual moment with my family that I was there with. So that was a constant battle. But again, I was intentional about doing it because I knew the feelings was going to come, because I'm not immune. I told you, I still go through things, but I was intentional about combating those feelings to not let it overcome and overtake the actual moment. I still felt, sadness and sorrow, but it was to a degree where I was still functional and able to enjoy life and enjoy my wife and my sister and my brother-in-law and my niece, and my other, in-laws that joined us later on in the trip. So that part, you can't get around it. You can't get around it. But all in all, the trip was a success. We had fun. We took lots of pictures and videos. And, I rode some of the roller coasters that they had. We went to Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom. So, it's more kid friendly versus adult. I want to go to Universal Studios next time. I'm talking about all the rides, the big rides. But all in all, we had a good trip going there, going back. We all took turns driving. We all had a good time reminiscing and laughing, but it was still that sting, and the kidney shot that, they should be with me, and right now it marks 3 years right now, marks since I've last laid eyes on my daughters. Okay. Since 2022. So yeah, I was in my feelings, but I was combating that because again, I was more sad around this time last year. And that's why I'm ending the year off the same way I started the year, with intentional, intentional actions, and also giving myself permission to have fun and live life. And I have to constantly do that. I have to be intentional about doing that, people. All right. I started the year 2025 doing that, and I had to go through all throughout the 2025 year, because again, I have to give myself permission to live, laugh, and love despite the situation with my daughters, despite me not be able to talk to them or see them, or enjoy them, right? So that's why being intentional is so important in life. You have to be intentional, and you can't just go with the flow, because you can get caught up like that at the end of the day, especially when you know what the trigger points is, especially when you know what's about to happen. So yeah, it was definitely a battle, but I made it with the support of, and I've gotten better too, because I was open about it with my family that I was with, about how I feel, what I usually do, going down I-10, going this way, and what I was feeling. So they supported me, and I was definitely being more open instead of shut off about my feelings about it. But the feelings are real. They're very real. And I wasn't going to try to ignore it or downplay it, but like I said, to my daughters, if y'all watch this video, I love y'all so much. I miss y'all so much. I can't wait to see y'all. I can't wait to touch y'all. I can't wait to hold y'all. I can't wait to look y'all in the eye and let you know how daddy truly feels, because these videos don't do it no justice. And I think about y'all every single day. every single day. But that ain't gonna continue to be strong, and I'm gonna do what I have to do to maintain my sanity and my peace. But I still have to, share those feelings because they're real, and I don't want nobody to think that I'm a robot by no means, because I'm not. And again, I'm still working on myself through the MDR uh, technique that was done in my last training. I'm not training, my last counseling evolution, and the things I've learned from my last counselor. So I'm still implementing these things in my life, and it's not easy, but you got to be intentional. So, and I may make it look easy, but trust me, it's not. It's not. It's not, because like it's emotions are a very powerful thing, right? If you don't take control of them or have emotional intelligence, it can get the best of you. It really can. So, um, and I plan on, of course, closing out the year, with intentionality, um, and going into the new year, of course. But it's very important, people. You can't play with it. You can't play with it. But I just wanted to say that out loud, because that's how I truly feel, and it sucks, but it's life. But I'm still working on the acceptance piece. I know I talked about it a couple of videos ago. I'm still working on it, though. It still sucks. It's not an end all be all. I just got to the point where I was like, okay, Nelson, this is what it's going to be for the time being, until God says otherwise. Because he's the only one that's in control at the end of the day. I can see and manipulate and force my way and all. I can do all that, but it's probably not going to end well for me or for anybody else around me. So I've been accepting what it is, but it still hurts. It still hurts. Doesn't mean void of emotion. It's just that I understand and I'm not fighting what it actually is right now, until something shakes, something changes, or I get a different sign, or whatever. And that's a decision I have to live with as well. Even though there are other options, I'm living with my decisions. Whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. So, but all in all, I've grown. I've seen a growth just in the month of November. I've seen a growth. So that's just thanks to my inner teachings and my professors, my wife, my family, our friends who check in on me, who talk to me, even the new people I met this month. Right, it's thanks to all of them, because again, that connection is what we yearn for and what we desire. That human connection, and I made a lot of good human connections since I started school at TSU, Texas Southern University to be exact. Okay, and I plan to build upon that, and to build upon my experiences, and build upon my self-worth, my self-knowledge, and just being the best version of myself at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, we can only go forward, not backwards. That's what I plan to do at the end of the day. But I'm still human. Life still sucks sometimes, but we go through it, we get through it, and I try to practice mindfulness as much as possible. I mean, it helps that I'm reading about this stuff in my books for counseling and stuff like that. It helps, right? Help you identify either what you already been doing or what you should do, or what you haven't been doing, right? So that helps a lot going through these books. So I'm only going to strengthen my knowledge as I go throughout this game called life. But shout out to all my people who support me, who are subscribed to my channel, who like the videos, who comment, who hit me up, who give me suggestions or ask questions. Like, hey, I appreciate it, because you ain't have to do it. You ain't got to do it. I know I send the video out and I don't really pester people, and I just put it out there and it's out there. So the people who take the time to actually watch the whole video and support, hey, I appreciate it. And it's going to go get better from here as I learn more, as I go through more experiences, as I meet new people. It's going to get better. The content's going to get better. And I'll have more to offer and share. But I'm not going to stop. I'm going to tell my story. and how I feel and why I feel, and that's just what it's going to be. Okay, so this is my therapy at the end of the day. If nobody don't listen to me, I guess I'll listen to me as I'm looking at this camera. But the people who do take the time out to show me some love, I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. I really do. I really do. Because, you know, I'm not trying to be an influencer, right? And trying to be famous, but I just want to just, tell my story, and hopefully it helps somebody along their journey at the end of the day. And that's pretty much what my goal is. Nothing less, nothing more. So if you felt that this was moving, that you felt that this was informative, inspiring, motivated, please like, share, subscribe, comment, and just help it, I guess, circulate, get in the algorithm or whatever. I'm only looking for people who are willing and people who are looking to be the best version of themselves. That's it. And that's not a lot of people that really truly wants to do it, because it involves work, like true work, like everyday work, like no days off work. So that's a few small, minute crowd of people who actually wants to endure that, because it's a process. It's not a microwave. It's a process. It's a lifelong process. So that's what I'm looking for. So if that's you, I appreciate you. And I can definitely learn from anybody that's on that journey, who wants to be on that journey. Because I'm no better than anybody else. I'm just able to open up and be vulnerable as a Black man to show, hey, we got feelings, and I'm still masculine at the end of the day, but I still feel. And it's okay to feel. So that's that. So before I got here, I got to get my advertisements in, my promotions. Intellectual power. I take it religiously. Look it up. It's intellectualpower.net. Look it up. See if it's for you or not. Okay? Class bookstore. Come on, let's get it. They are online. Or you go your third ward if you local. By TSU. Get some books. Okay? Support your local bookstore. Class bookstore. Big bro. Zoe Williams. MrZoeWilliams.com. Get the book. Try the Lighthouse. Get that self-work in. Okay? Again, everybody, it's not for everybody. If you ain't trying to put that work in, steer clear. Steer clear. And also my big sis, This is the Science of Sex right here. I got some more books I'm ordering, workbooks. But yeah, big sis, ZazaAli.com. Get the workbook. Get that self. Get some self-evaluation, self-inventory, right? So all these things that I just showed you, that helps with self-evaluation, self-inventory, right? And there's many products and stuff out there too, but that's what I use. So I can only let you in on what I use, right? So I'm going to advertise because I support Black businesses first and foremost, all right? And then they actually work, at least for me, and people I've referred them to. So that's that. So at the end of the day, like I always tell y'all, I love y'all for free, but I can help you, but I can't save you. And that's just what it is. But until next time, y'all know what it is. And I love y'all. All right.